were you ever asked, I mean, the subject is hijab, and I wanted to know, were you ever asked to wear one? Were you ever wearing one and asked to remove it? What relationship do you have with that world?
I mean, this is a difficult topic for me because it's like I was 31 or 32 years my whole life, never wearing it, never being exposed to this. And there is a huge pressure when you become Muslim from Muslims. Like, I have never been bullied like this in my life or experienced this kind of hate until I became Muslim. And the pressure, the comments, the advising, I just feel like it's very toxic and it's very out of control. And so, as a new Muslim, it's like this weird thing where everybody feels this. I talk to a lot of people who are interested in becoming Muslim, and the number one deterrent to doing Shahada is, after talking to thousands of people, is that they feel this pressure to be perfect. They need to already be a hijabi. They need to already know Arabic. They need to already be fasting and praying. And it's like, we need to take it back to how the Sahaba and how Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. They learned over 23 years as the Quran was revealed. The first 10, 12 years, they focused on the heart, and, they celebrated their battles and with drinking and stuff like this. So it's like, I feel like Muslims forget that you have to really it's like a small seed. You have to put in long roots before it starts growing, and it's many years till you have the fruit. Same thing. It's like, there's a lot of pressure. Like, you don't look how we want you to look. You don't wear hijab. You're going to Jahannam. There's judgment. I mean, people saying I look like a porn star, saying I'm in the FBI, saying all sorts of crazy things, always hurting my feelings. And it doesn't bring me closer to it or make it any easier. And I wish that they would stop and realize, like, my mom's not a hijabi. My mom doesn't even know Shahada. You know what I mean? Can you imagine, like, having parents that don't understand and then expect me to put it on in California by myself, where my family isn't? I don't have a mahram. I don't have anybody to protect me or like walk with me in it. So it's like, to get to the point where I'm praying and I get to come here and I can wear it, I can practice. It's a lot less scary, because I do feel, just kind of afraid, because it's like, maybe it's coming from these circles and being from this culture. I know how hateful they are. But I've worn it before. I felt really stressed to wear it in the beginning, and I would try, and I'd sit in my car and I'd cry and I'd be like, I suck at this. Like, it made me want to leave Islam when I put so much pressure on myself to grow. Like, I can't do this and I can't do that. And when I finally was like, okay, Candace, you need to calm down. And I took it back and I compete with myself in getting better. I've grown more and it becomes more easy. But for the hijab, inshallah, but it's very difficult being in the Western world, being afraid. And, like, then wearing it in the past, and people are like, you don't look Muslim. Or people look at me like, and they hear me talk and they see how I look, and they're just kind of like, I can tell they're sizing me up. And I'm like, I don't want to get attacked. You never know what's going to happen in America.
You never know what's going to happen. Not just in America, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's mentally exhausting, by the way, to have conversations with yourself, to calm yourself down based on what these low-level thinkers are telling you. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just unnecessary. I could only imagine how many went back to the old religion because they couldn't do it anymore. It's too stressful. Being Muslim, I'm getting bullied, I'm getting teased, my house is getting broken into. You know what? Let me just no longer be Muslim. But for you to be resilient and to be stronger and to put up with it under such hard times is why I say you have a lot to be proud of.
Alhamdulillah. Well, and I like I said, when I was a new Muslim, it was very difficult. I was starving for friendship. I wanted a sense of belonging. So I really wanted to be accepted into the Muslim groups. I didn't know how to make friends, because it's like, I would see the only way to know if somebody's Muslim is if they wear hijab. And I'd walk by, I'd say, Assalamu alaikum. And they'd look at me like what? Okay, she's so cultured.
Is she FBI?
Yeah. And so, I really wanted friends. And so when I went online, it wasn't to become an influencer or anything like that. I was just really wanting friends. I reached out to some local hijabis in my area, like, hey, I've never been to the mosque. I was wondering if, you can give me advice. I was wanting somebody to say, hey, girl, I'll take you. And nobody did.
Wow.
And so it's like, it really deterred me for a long time, but I was thirsty for the companionship, the friendship. So that's why I started going online and I actually had 2 Instagrams, the one where I was secretly Muslim, and then the other one, because there was so much pressure from my family, from my society to stay the way I was. And as I started learning it, it was like, it's disgusting that you would want to be modest. Why would you do that? You've always worn shorts. And so to feel that pushback from my community and be like, it really made me start assessing the Western culture and the narrative and say, well, why are they conditioning women to do this? Why do we need all of that? Why are we only great if we're young or we look a certain way? And so, I was secretly Muslim. I was having a mental breakdown, and my best friend who was non-Muslim, she does hair, and she actually said, she's like, you need to be authentic and accept yourself. Anybody who doesn't accept you or care, doesn't like this, it's too bad. So my New Year's resolution 2020 was to be authentic.